Yeah, so my name is, my initiated name is Vaidyanath. My legal name is Erland Pettersson. And I joined the Hare Krishna movement in the year of the Lord, 1972. So that's a long time ago. And I'm married. I'm a grandfather now with 6 grandchildren, and I have different roles also in our Hare Krishna movement. I absolved a priest study and also taught priests. It's called Bhakti Shastri. I've been teaching the title, Bhakti Shastri title, to educate our priests. And I'm representative of Hinduism for the Hamburg School Board also. And in 2022, we started a Hindu Forum Germany, which is an umbrella organization of Hindus in Germany, most of whom, of course, are ethnic Indians. Only few are converts, like Western converts, the Hare Krishna movement and some other also, who consider themselves Hindus but were born in Germany or in Western countries. I'm also vice president of our Bhakti Yoga Center in Hamburg. In Hamburg, we have a Hare Krishna temple. It's called Bhakti Yoga Center. And there I'm vice president and regularly participate in the activities. Otherwise, I work from home, a lot of stuff from the computer. Nowadays, we have these video calls, which makes a communication very comfortable. So, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Bhakti Yoga is a science especially explained in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm here holding up here the German copy, Bhagavad Gita wie sie ist. English would be Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I'm in the disciplic succession from my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of the spiritual mass of the Hare Krishna movement. And I was initiated by him in 1973. So Bhakti, as explained by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, is the science of devotion. And Krishna explains that if you really want to know him, if you really want to know Krishna, which is the name of God, if you really want to know God, then you have to have a loving relationship with him, confidential, loving relationship with him. Krishna says this is the best way to get to know him, because God is not something we can grasp with our mind. It's not something we can intellectually, or somebody whom we can intellectually understand. There are, of course, different philosophies of how God could be and how we could have a relationship to him, but they all differ from each other, are different, although you might find some similarities. But if you really want to have a close relationship to God, then that is not with your head, with your understanding, but it's from your heart, with love of God. So that is devotion to God, love of God, which doesn't mean just sitting there idly and being in love with God. But our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada translated bhakti as devotional service. So one should be doing something for God. Main thing we do for God is we chant his holy name. I have Japa Mala. See, this is called Japa Mala. It's in a bead bag. We have this Mala. Mala means a chain, actually. A necklace also. It has 108 pearls on it. And we chant God's name, the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If a person is a monk or lives in the temple, then he chants these names 1,728 times per day, which will take about 2.5 hours. I'm retired. I've been retired since 2013. So in my retirement, I've had the time to again chant my 16 rounds or 1,728 mantras per day, which really improves my state of retirement. It's a good way to improve the quality, the living life quality when you are retired, by chanting the name of God. It's something which really brightens up my day, and I can recommend it to every person who's retired. Besides chanting God's name, we also do different services. Like I have a set of things I do. Mostly it's administration and teaching. In our scriptures, it's said that in this age of Kali Yuga, it started about 5,000 years ago. The best way to establish a connection with God is by chanting his name. So in that verse, the name of God is not defined, although there are other verses where it says the Hare Krishna mantra is a good one. But any name of God is okay. Like in different cultures, God is known by different names. In India, it's Kṛṣṇa, Govinda, Rama, and so on, many different names. In other cultures, he's known as Allah or even Jesus or the Lord or God or Yahweh, different names. So whatever name the person knows of God, because God has unlimited names, if he calls out that name, that is the best way to establish a relationship to him. Yes. So even said in other scriptures also in the Bible, Old Testament, from morning to evening, one should praise the Lord.
How did you get into it?
I was born into a secular Protestant family, like in Hamburg, from birth. Actually, you used to be baptized as Lutheran Protestant. Now it's not like that anymore. Only 40%, I think 50% of the children are still baptized. But when you're born in northern Germany, generally you would be a Lutheran. You would be baptized because your parents would ascribe to that faith. And so I was baptized and grew up in a secular Lutheran family. My parents were not particularly religious. We would especially go to church on Christmas. While I did the confirmation lessons, Konfirmandenunterricht, confirmation lesson when I was as a teenager, we even went every Sunday, so that was an improvement for some time. So as a confirmation student, I went to my priest. I made an appointment. He said, well, I'm really so enthused by what you're teaching us here. I'm reading the Bible to myself out loud, and I really love it so much. Now, after this confirmation lesson is over, how can I get further involved in Christianity? How can I dedicate my life to God? Because I thought that was my idea. I was a little bit unusual as a youngster. I was really deeply interested in religion, which wasn't very widespread, amongst my friends. So the priest said he got a little bit astonished. Oh boy, no. He said, well, my dear son, these existential questions will get resolved in the course of one's life automatically. He said, you just finish your school, then you do your training, you study or you learn a profession. And once you're grown up, everything will be clear to you. This was what my priest told me. And I found that a little bit sad. See, we had in the confirmations lessons, we heard about the saints, Jesus Christ and his followers. And according to Christian Protestant conviction, there are no saints around today. We don't have any saints. And I found that sad. I was looking for some spiritual people. So my priest had said, well, you find out yourself. So, okay. Then I looked around in Hamburg. I still live in Hamburg, grew up in Hamburg. So there were different missionary centers from Hinduism, you know. Like there was a Divine Light mission. Maybe you still know. He was a Guru Maharaji. He's not active anymore as far as I know. Some others, there was some transcendental meditation by, what's his name? Maharishi Mahesh Yogi Center. I went to their center. And I went to the center of the Hare Krishna movement that they had at that time in Bartelstraße, Sternschanze, Schanzenviertel in Hamburg. And I found the Hare Krishnas gave me the best solution. Also, they didn't charge any money if you wanted to join them, because I didn't have money at that time. And you could live as a monk, which was my ideal. This was what I thought of. You could live a simple life. You could go out on missionary activities. The movement at that time was still very young in Germany, so there was a lot of pioneer work to be done. And then my idea was, after the army, take a break, 1 year break, before studying or continuing. So I went and started hitchhiking at the Autobahn highway out Hamburg, trying to go south, maybe, Southern Europe, Morocco, and something like that. So the first car that stopped was the van, VW Volkswagen van of the Hamburg Hare Krishna temple. And I asked them, well, where are you going? They said, well, we are going to Paris to see our spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And I said, okay, that will be a good stretch. First stretch, Hamburg to Paris. That's a good hike. So I said, will you take me? Yes, come in. They knew me. I'd been visiting the Hare Krishna temple for a year on Sundays. And so there I saw my spiritual master for the first time. And his demeanor, the way he behaved, his lectures, and also the association of all the other Hare Krishna people, mostly young people my age, from hippie kind of background. And that just fascinated me. And I said, I had wanted to travel around the world. So I said, well, then I just travel with the Hare Krishnas. So since then, I've been staying with them. Bhagavad Gita explains in the 6th chapter, Krishna explains that if somebody performs spiritual life in one life, but doesn't come to the perfection, doesn't complete it, then he'll take birth again in a situation where he is offered the opportunity for spiritual life, because we believe in reincarnation too. So we don't only live once. So I believe that I've practiced spiritual life in past lives, and as a type of karma, or the reaction to my interest in spiritual life, even from past life, I got the opportunity in this life. So this is how I think this happened.
What is spirituality?
Well, again, go back to Bhagavad Gita. There in Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning of 7th chapter, Krishna explains about his energies. He says there are 8 material energies, which are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Now, ether means space. Material energy, earth, water, things that we can touch, smell, perceive. Then there even, these are called the gross material elements. Then above that, there are subtle material elements, which is mind, intelligence, and ego. So even our thinking is declared by Krishna to be a material element. Our intelligence is a material element. We can analyze that what we think about are mostly material things. What am I going to eat today? How do I pay the tax? How do I maintain my house or my apartment? We think about maintaining our material body, which consists of the gross material elements. So there's also, therefore, the mind, intelligence are also considered material or explained to be material by Krishna. And then the space that we occupy, we occupy a certain space in this world. And then Krishna says, above that, there is another energy, a spiritual energy. And this energy consists of the living entities, the spirit souls, who are ultimately, Krishna says in the 15th chapter, they are part and parcel of him. So there is a material energy, and then there is a spiritual energy. Krishna himself is center, origin of both energies, but he is of spiritual energy himself. And the living entities are also his parts and parcels, also of spiritual energy himself. And they, in this material world, they become manifest through the material body. They're covered by the material body. The life in the body, that is spiritual. That's the spirit living entity. When the living entity leaves the body, we call that death. Then the body lies on the bed or wherever it is, and we only think of getting rid of it by burning it, burying it, or something. It is not alive. The life is spiritual. So our living entity, the living entity has more facilities than just giving consciousness to the body. Since it's part and parcel of God in its liberated state, when it's liberated from the bodily conception of life, it can have a relationship with God, who is his original origin. So spiritual means anything in relationship with God, where God is the center, and we consider ourselves as parts of God.
Did you get rid of desires, fears, and material attachment?
Well, this is a lifelong struggle, which is called yoga. Yoga implies control of the senses. So automatically, Krishna even says that also in the second chapter, that if you have the higher taste of serving God, then you forget about the lower taste, which is serving the senses. Still, the senses, they are of some necessity. I mean, you need the senses to maintain the body. And even if you want to serve God, you have to maintain the body, and you have to stay healthy. Otherwise, if you're not healthy, if you starve, you cannot serve God properly. Your mind even doesn't work well if you don't maintain the body properly. So the solution is one has to engage the senses in God's service. This is the science, part of the science of bhakti also. The senses that are engaged in God's service, they become spiritualized. Especially if you do direct service for God. Say you do deity worship, you worship the Lord on the altar, or you go on pilgrimage. You use your feet to visit holy places. The senses are used in God's service. Or if you do different kinds of activities, you teach or you write, you manage, whatever, for God, that becomes spiritual also. Of course, the senses, due to a habit, are also interested in own gratification. And this has to be controlled. Therefore, there are certain rules in spiritual life. Like in our tradition, we follow 4 rules and regulation, which is no meat eating, no eating of meat, fish, and eggs. So that is control of the tongue. For example, if somebody, like I was accustomed to eating meat before I joined, so I had to I was a young person, it wasn't so difficult, but I had to to change my habit to a vegetarian diet, giving up meat, fish, eggs, then no intoxication. If one has to give up beer drinking, for example, or I mean, yes, tough. Or even nowadays, hashish is allowed. When I was young, we smoked hashish, but it was illegal. Nowadays, it is legal, but even that also has to be given up. All these things are habit forming. You got habituated. What to speak of addiction if you become alcoholic or you get addicted to heroin or things. Well, these are even stronger habits. So that has to be no intoxication at all, nothing, no beer, no hashish, nothing. Sometimes our spiritual master said sometimes little tea may be allowed.
So if I'm totally full of it and I say, nah, I don't need any help. I can read that book for myself. I don't need to talk to anyone. I know what I'm doing. I already feel enlightening coming through.
Yeah. There are different ways of how one can have a relationship to God. One is called Kripa Siddha, which means just by the mercy of God, you become enlightened. Kripa Siddha. Even without doing something for it, you become enlightened. The thing is, though, if you feel that relationship to God, automatically you will want to decrease service to your own self. You will want to decrease service of your senses. You will want to do more for God. Once you get that mercy, you're busy in God's service. You will forget all kinds of other nonsense that your mind may suggest. So, and then there is sadhana siddha, which means you attain perfection through regulated service. And most of the living entities, most of us are actually sadhakas. It's called sadhakas, which means we perform we follow religious regulations. We do certain things. There's do's and don'ts. There are things we should do, other things we should not do. Under the direction of a spiritual master. So what the spiritual master tells us to do, we do. What he tells us not to do, will not do. Of course, these rules and regulations are also there in the scripture. The spiritual master doesn't invent anything new. He just repeats what's already there in the scripture and what he has learned from his spiritual master. So there are certain commandments that we follow that you have in any religion. You have commandments. Say it's 10 commandments in Christianity. In every religion, there are commandments. So we have this: no meat, fish, eggs, then no intoxication, no sex outside marriage, and no gambling. Certain rules, especially in the beginning, may be difficult, but only the sincere desire, the attempt, that is what pleases God, not your so-called perfection. The improvement that you're making, when you try, that is what pleases God.
This perception of us as a persona, as a person, eventually has to die already when we are still alive.
You mean the identification as a person. That is called, in Sanskrit, it's called ahankara, or we translate it as false ego. That I am this. I am German. I am a fan of HSV, certain football club. I am thin. I am fat. I am intelligent. I am a photographer. I am a blacksmith. I am a philosopher. This is all from false concept. We call it false ego. Or the Sanskrit word is ahankara. Ahankara means I am the doer. That actually I'm in control of what I'm doing. So this concept has to be given up. We have to accept that God, we are acting under the control of God, and whatever concept I have, I'm German, I'm this, only applies to the body, only refers to the body. I'm German. Why? Because my body was born in Northern Europe, in Germany. So therefore it's a wrong identification. I'm not the body. The body is only a temporary covering of the spirit soul inside. Actually, I am spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi, that is the Sanskrit term. Aham Brahmasmi. I am spirit soul, I'm part of God. The body is only a temporary covering, and it's not eternal. See this, the eternal identity, that is the spirit soul. The body is not eternal. It has a beginning and an end, just like anything material. So anything that has a beginning and an end, according to Bhagavad Gita, that is not real. It's a covering. It's a temporary covering. It's there, but only temporarily, but there's something which is eternal. I'm that eternal substance. So whenever I identify with something temporary, I mean, you may change your nationality. You could become, now you're German. You may take a different nationality. You can even change your faith, like I did. I was Christian, so-called Christian in my first part of life, but then I became Hindu. What do you say? Hindu. But even say you are Hindu, that is also wrong. Hindus become Muslims, sometimes, or Christians. So that is not the eternal reality, but there is an eternal reality, which we all have, an eternal identity, but that is spiritual. Our identity is spiritual. Once our body dies, we are reborn, still the same. The identity stays the same, even beyond death, even the next life, same identity. And the goal of life is to realize one's relationship with God and return back to God to leave this temporary world.
Other religions, should they now convert, or should we leave them alone?
Religion is there all over the world. I mean, Hinduism may be the oldest religion still existing. All other religions are actually younger, but they all, goal of all religions is to cultivate a relationship with God. That is the meaning of that word religion even. In religion, you have the word Liga, like Bundesliga. League, in English, league. Religion, Liga. Liga means a covenant, a connection. You say even the ligaments, ligaments, the joints. So religion means to reconnect with what? With God. And in Sanskrit, that word would be yoga. Yoga means actually connection. Connection. For connection, you have to have two persons, two things or two persons. So it means connection between the soul and God. So any religion will serve that purpose. In Bhagavatam, it says, real religion means that which leads to love of God. Beyond one's own self-interest or beyond philosophical speculation. So if the religion that you're performing leads you to have a relationship with God, love of God, then that is fine. And that will depend on your sincerity in that particular religion. Some people, they say, okay, I'm Christian, like they are part of a political party only. I never go to church, don't practice. Like, for example, if you vote for a political party, you don't have to practice anything, huh? So, but just as a designation, huh? I am Christian as a designation. And these people are Jews. I mean, that concept has created so many problems, hasn't it? Huh? We are better than the Jews. Even Martin Luther said that. Huh? You know, he was very critical of the Jews. That's a physical designation. Huh? Or nowadays we have the Jews and the Muslims, huh? And they fight. But that's only a physical designation. Actually, they don't have a theological dispute. You know, it's not when you say when Christians say the Jews, they have a philosophical dispute. It's a racial discrimination. Huh? And actually, Muslims and Jews, they're very close theologically. They're very close. But still, they give this designation. Muslims are like this, and Jews are like this, and so it's just like in the artificial world, German or British or German and Russian, huh? Soon we might have another war like this, you know? So like this. So this type of religiosity will not help. If we perform religiosity only for our own sake, so we can have a better life, God will supply us everything, huh? Then this is not true religion. True religion means you have an active, loving relationship to God.
You have now this form. You're having a sign. I think this is from practice today, on your forehead, and this is something you show openly to the world, like when you go shopping.
You know, I only wear this outfit if I explain our teachings or like this, you know, or I perform priestly activities or called
Yes.
tilak. I'm also initiated in this tradition, but even this tilak, anybody can wear. You could have a tilak, you know, if you like to. Yes.
You mean like a like an expression of the latest trend?
If you like the Hare Krishnas and follow certain rules, then you could have a tilak. Because it wouldn't be good if you wear a tilak and go into the butcher shop to buy your steak. Then I wouldn't recommend buying a tilak because it's bad for public relations. You know? But often Hare Krishnas, they have this ponytail in the back, huh? Like the monks. I'm not a monk, I'm a married person. But the monks have the ponytail. Even married people can have this ponytail. And they're bald, shaved, like you're shaved, yeah. And they have this ponytail. So this ponytail has been imitated by the punks. You notice? They also wear this ponytail now. So it's not restricted. Anybody can do that. Always chant Hare Krishna mantra as much as you can. I put it in here. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. 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 Hare. 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 Rama. Hare. Rama. 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 Hare. Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, yes, there we go.
Thank you very much.
Namaste, Hare Krishna. Okay.